Imagine you're sitting down to study. You open your laptop. You tell yourself, I'm going to focus for the next 1 hour. 3 minutes later, you check your phone, then your email, then YouTube. Then suddenly you're watching a video titled, Why Roman Concrete is Stronger Than Modern Concrete. And now, it's been 47 minutes. Here's the scary part. This isn't because you're lazy. It's because your brain is literally being rewired. And according to researchers who've been studying human attention for over 2 decades, the average time people stay focused on one screen has collapsed, from about 2.5 minutes in the early 2000s to just around 47 seconds today. So if you've been wondering, why can't I focus anymore? The answer isn't what you think. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what is happening inside your brain, why it's not entirely your fault, and most importantly, how you can actually get your focus back. Let's start with a myth. You've probably heard people say, humans now have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. Sounds dramatic. There's just one problem. It's completely false. The famous 8-second attention span statistic has no reliable scientific basis. In fact, goldfish are smarter than we give them credit for. Researchers have trained them to push levers for food and even remember mazes after 6 months. So no, we haven't become dumber than goldfish. The real problem is much more interesting. People binge watch an entire Netflix series. Gamers play for 6 hours straight. Sports fans watch an entire cricket match without checking Instagram every 2 minutes. So the issue isn't that attention has disappeared. It's that our attention has become fragmented. Professor Gloria Mark from UC Irvine, who has spent over 20 years studying digital attention, found that people now switch screens roughly every 47 seconds. Not because they have to, because they've become used to it. Think about how humans evolved. For almost all of history, there were no notifications, no reels, no endless scrolling, no vibrating pocket computer demanding your attention every 5 minutes. Professor Richard Saitovic explains that our brains evolved in environments with relatively little sensory overload. Today's world is completely different. Every app, every notification, every recommendation, every just one more video is competing for the same thing, your attention. Neuroscientist Amishi Jha calls attention our brain's most precious resource. Imagine attention like your phone battery. Every notification, every email, every unnecessary decision, every random scroll drains it a little more. By the time you finally sit down to do meaningful work, you're already running on 20%. Here's something most people never realize. Checking your phone for 10 seconds doesn't cost you 10 seconds. It costs much more. Research by Gloria Mark found that after an interruption, it takes people about 23 minutes on average to fully return to the original task. Think about that. You reply to one message, you come back to your assignment, but your brain is still thinking about the conversation. Psychologist Sophie Leroy calls this attention residue. Imagine pouring water from one glass into another. No matter how carefully you pour, a little water stays behind. That's exactly what happens with your attention. Every unfinished task leaves a small part of your brain stuck there. One email, one notification, one WhatsApp message, one unfinished project. They all quietly occupy mental space. And suddenly, you feel mentally exhausted without actually doing much. Ever picked up your phone just to check the time and somehow ended up scrolling Instagram? You're not alone. Psychiatrist Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford explains this using dopamine. Every notification, every like, every funny reel, every unpredictable piece of content gives your brain a tiny reward. The key word is unpredictable. You never know whether the next scroll will be boring or amazing. That uncertainty is exactly what makes social media so addictive. It's the same psychological principle behind slot machines. Your brain keeps thinking, maybe the next one will be even better. Before you know it, 30 minutes are gone. The scary part, Professor Gloria Mark also found that we interrupt ourselves almost as often as our phones interrupt us. Eventually, the habit becomes automatic. The notification isn't controlling you anymore. Your own brain is. Now here's the part most people never hear. Your attention hasn't disappeared. It's been trained. And anything that can be trained can be retrained. Here's what researchers consistently recommend. First, remove the phone from your workspace. Not face down, not silent, actually out of sight. Because even seeing it forces part of your brain to monitor it. Second, work in focused blocks. Try 50 minutes of uninterrupted work followed by a 10-minute break. During the break, don't scroll. Walk, stretch, drink water. Let your brain actually recover. Third, finish tasks whenever possible. Remember attention residue? Closing one task before jumping to another keeps your brain from carrying unfinished mental baggage. Fourth, protect your sleep. One bad night doesn't just make you tired. It slows thinking, weakens memory, and makes distractions much harder to resist. And finally, train your attention like a muscle. Read books, Meditate for 10 to 12 minutes. Take walks without your phone. The more time your brain spends in deep focus, the easier deep focus becomes. Here's what you need to remember. The modern world isn't competing for your money first. It's competing for your attention. Because once something controls your attention, it controls your time and eventually your life. So don't blame yourself every time you lose focus. Understand what's happening. Design your environment instead of relying on willpower. Protect your attention the way you'd protect your health. Because your attention isn't just another skill. It's the foundation of everything you'll ever learn, create, or achieve. The good news? Your brain is incredibly adaptable. If it learned distraction, it can learn focus again. And maybe the next time you sit down to work, you won't need more motivation. You'll simply need fewer distractions. Your attention is your superpower. Guard it wisely. What is the one distraction that's stealing the most attention from your life right now? Is it your phone, social media, stress? Or maybe it's your own habit of constantly switching between tasks? Let me know in the comments. And if this video helped you understand your brain a little better, share it with someone who keeps saying, I just can't focus anymore. Because maybe they don't need more motivation. They just need fewer distractions.